Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Apex Online Racing, and maybe not a familiar face that you're used to seeing here on a Sunday night. Usually, of course, I'd be traipsing on the other side of the water, but I am here on Apex Online Racing, brought to you by Hype Energy and Elgato. I'm so excited to be here. This, of course, being me, CRGGO, George Morgan, back in the comms box at Apex Online Racing. It's a pleasure to be here, of course, amongst some of the best in esports and sim racing. Obviously, a huge event here tonight, Spa-Francorchamps, ever historic. Certainly, this track has provided us with many a highlight over the years. I mean, just got to look at some of these. Look at some of these track facts. Of course, this track was founded in 1925, folks. 1925. Historic isn't the word for this circuit, of course. Got some very notorious names, including Eau Rouge, that first initial left and right section. Of course, you head up towards Kemmel, into the Kemmel Straight, and then you head in towards the S's into Lake Com before you make your way around Malmedy, down towards Rivage. Obviously, the corner with no name then, heading into turn 9. Pouon, of course, that illustrious bend, heading around the next left-hander, of course, that being turn 10 and turn 11. Before you reach Farnier then, which is turn 12, and heading down there, you've got another bit of a winding section, of course, in Sector 2. Heading around 13, 14, Stavelo, turn 15, of course. Heading around towards Blanchimont into turn 17, and then down towards the notorious bus stop chicane, of course, that infamous 18 and 19 turn into the stretch. Heading down towards La Source after the start-finish line. What a track Belgium certainly is, folks. I hope you're all keeping well and enjoying your very fine Sunday evening. I, of course, looking forward to calling this, of course, Tom97, the championship leader, at least for the time being. But he is doing exceptionally well. 134 points to his name right now in P2. Paris Burel, who is not far off the mark either. He's risen up, certainly in the points gap. Brownie in P3. Andonator is in P4. Obviously, always a pleasure to see Andonator back on track. Jan Fieler, of course, a phenomenal driver on his day too. Krizic as well is in amongst it, as well as Kimmers and Padlo Futej as well, who's up there for dancing. But we've got some phenomenal drivers here on track. The likes of BDG Warren is here as well. DL Warren, some of you might know him as well. Jan Fieler, of course, here, as well as Michael Tonitza, of course, David Tonitza's brother. Of course, David Tonitza, former F1 esports champion, last year's champion and reigning champion. Obviously, coming down to the wire, that championship at the moment, Jana Watmir is leading that at this stage. Paris Burel is here as well as Scrippy. Florian Napik here as well as Krajcic. And Christian Senders is here as well for the Ferrari team. We've got plenty of outstanding quality talent here on track, folks, and I'm looking forward to bringing it to you. Obviously, please don't be afraid to drop your comments in the live chat. Obviously, I'll be here to answer all your questions. Looking forward to calling this one, and it's going to be an exceptional race. We're going to really look forward to bringing you this one. And obviously, if you're there in the chat, please make yourselves known, smash out some comments, etc. Just to go through the team championship as well. Red Bull currently leading that 152 points, but it's going to the wire because Alfa Romeo, much like in F1 esports, are there in P2 as well, looking to chase down the Red Bull team. 149 points to go to Alfa Romeo. McLaren in P3, currently 119 points. Wow, BDG Warren instantly in the chat saying, who is the beast in comms? Go to comms, but wrong title. Is it the wrong title? I do apologise if it is. British GP. Ouch. Sorry, guys. I will get that. We'll get that repaired for you. It's been a while since I've been on AOR, folks, so do apologise for that. I do apologise. You know, obviously once I get back, it'll be business as usual, I am sure. But we are here nonetheless. But I'm delighted to be here. It truly is going to be a a real exciting night. Obviously, lots to be excited about here on Apex Online Racing. And honestly, I'm delighted to be here. It's an absolute pleasure. And I hope you're all keeping well here on your Sunday evenings. And looking forward to a night's racing indeed. We're about to head out for qualifying. Obviously, short quali here, folks. And obviously, lots of potential here for everybody. Olaf Konzi, go Josh. I'm going to take that as Josh. Great to see you, Olaf, in the chat, of course. We've got some live viewers. Let's see you popping in this live chat, folks. I want to see you all in amongst it, getting involved and cheering on your favourite drivers. Of course, it's going to be absolutely stupendous, and we cannot wait. And it's going to be a wet quali session. 11 drivers cap us off here today, folks. We'll now head over to the grid very, very shortly. It's going to be a clinical event, nonetheless. I cannot wait for it. It's going to be absolutely spectacular. Also going to be running this by fastest laps, of course, folks. It's all about who can handle themselves better out on track as we head out. Welcome, everybody. Here we are indeed. The cars are about to make their way out onto the circuit, folks. Just beginning to get ourselves ready and raring to go here for the start of this phenomenal Grand Prix. I just realised I had the wrong DirectX on there then. Do apologise. It's going well, isn't it? Let's have a look. Let's select that as done. Excellent. Here we are, folks, live from Belgium. The circuit of Belgium there, coated in water, that's for sure. And not ideal to say the least. As you can now see, Scrippy, we give yourself an update on the weather front, I'm sure, as well. But here we are. There's Scrippy heading down towards that very famous chicane. That, of course, Les Combes. Turns 5 and 6 here, folks. The weather pouring down here at Belgium, that's for sure. Paris Burel just leaving the pit lane as well. Of course, Paris Burel currently P2 in the Drivers' Championship right now. Dylan Warren, of course, out there as well in P3. PDG Warren, that is. Heading up the stretch now past the initial bends. Heading up towards Radion. And very soon up the Kemmel Straight. There's Warren riding on board with him right now, folks. He's looking ever prominent there. Is that man in the Red Bull. Just coaxing his car around this next left-hander. Of course, you've got to scale the car almost in situations like this. It's not ideal, certainly where it comes to the weather front. But nonetheless, they're doing their darndest out on track. And it's going to be up to these drivers now to register their hot laps. Obviously, at this moment in time, folks, given the fact that we've got 11 drivers out on track, it'll only determine who will be starting where on the grid. Obviously, when we go into the race, things can all change. Due to the fact we've only got 12 cars, obviously there's no advantage given to those in the top end, of course, and the weather can change going into the race as well. So the weather, because it's set to dynamic, of course, we're going to be having it affecting the quali times, but it might not affect the race. The race could still be a dry race. So this could definitely throw up a few question marks amongst the drivers, obviously. Naturally, everyone on an even keel. Everyone's out on wet tyres. As we now see Warren heading round the next right-hander, of course. Now looking to stamp his authority here. Scrippy there in P2, heading round in, well, through La Source indeed. About to commence his hot lap. Paris Burel out there as well. Norbert Jacob there out in the AlphaTauri. Looking to do the business himself as well. Heading up towards what will be the next chicane. In behind as well, Michael Tanita out on a fast lap too. So plenty of drivers out looking to set some, well, instant stunners. Certainly the advantage going into qualifying will certainly help them along the way into securing a great advantage going into this race. That's what qualifying is all about, folks. As Scrippy now heads through the initial stages, through the next right-hander now, just slick. Very slick indeed on this circuit. Got to be able to sort of judge where you can apply the power. Heading around Rivage now. Very, very tricky indeed. Heading round to the corner of No Name here, which is turn 9. Heading down towards what will be Pouon now shortly. And obviously this corner here, Pouon, can be very, very tricky indeed. It can throw you right out wide, brush any of the curbs, and you will go for a spin. Of course, the first race here held, like I said before, 1925, when the circuit was indeed founded. And 44 laps usually held in a race. Of course, we're not racing under official conditions here in AOR. But albeit the test is still stern enough. As we now see, Scrippy heading around the next right-hander. Most wins recorded here at Belgium, owned by Michael Schumacher. 6 wins in his history. Of course, a tenacious German driver, Michael Schumacher, to claim 6 wins. Most wins, no surprise, constructor that being the Ferrari team. 18 wins amassed for the prancing horses. They'll be wondering whether Christian Senders can actually apply the same pressure as Norbert Jakob goes quickest with a 1:55.827. That's the initial time on the board, but still more yet to be shown. As we're looking further down the classification, Krajcic coming through towards the chicane as well, the bus stop chicane. Is he going to register a time? Scrippy is just a 10th out, or over, just over a 10th. In fact, Michael Tanica nestling at 1:57 as Josh goes P1 there with a 1:55.715. Top 97, the championship leader, nestles it on top spot there at 1:55.151 for the streamer. The streaming extraordinaire, Paris Burel, joining him on the front row, at least for now. A 1:55.271, Josh on P3. Jakob down in P4. Napik there, Florian Napik, who I had the pleasure of commentating on last season in F2. Not sure, I think there's a few complaints of a laggy stream here, folks. Do apologise. It seemed to be YouTube not receiving enough video. Do apologise, folks. There must be a bit of an issue construing in the broadcast. Not sure quite what's happening. Do apologise, folks. This is a new one on me. We rarely had problems like this before. We're now seeing Florian Napik heading up towards the chicane. We'll keep you updated, folks, as to what's happening. Obviously, when we come back to the main titles, we'll take a look at that. Do apologise. As we now see Florian Napik now heading around the next right-hander. Closely followed by Dylan Warren. Scrippy in P7, coming down towards the final straight here in Sector 3. Paris Burel, Jan Fiele claiming a 1:55.676. Locks up heading in towards La Source, but that's not going to matter. P3 for the Comrade Gaming man and the McLaren driver. Heading down the stretch towards Radion. So he's going to be absolutely delighted with that fact indeed. A great show of tenacity. I appreciate, obviously, I do understand there's a laggy stream here, folks. Do bear with me. Obviously, I can't manage it while we're out here. Not quite sure why it's causing it, to be honest with you. Very strange indeed. I'll keep you up to date, obviously, as things go. The important thing is that we keep the focus here on qualifying. I will amend it as soon as we get into the break in quali. We've still got 10 minutes left to go in qualifying. Eventually we will get round to fixing the stream for you, folks. Currently top 97 in P1, Paris Burel, P2, BDG Warren, Florian Napik there. Jan Fiele coming around Pouon. And heading down towards this next sector, of course. He's in Sector 2 for now, soon to be in Sector 3 as he now makes his way around the next right and left. Obviously, with the wet tyres on at the moment, does not allow these drivers, obviously, to go at full pelt here. They're going to have to really take things really steady. Do bear with me, folks. I'll see if we can fix the issue with the stream. Obviously, this is very, very strange indeed. We'll be right back with you very, very shortly. Sorry about that, folks. We seem to be having a real loss of frameage. Not quite sure what's happening, but we seem to be experiencing a few lag spikes. I'm not sure why it's happening, folks. Do apologise. I'm trying to identify what the issue might be. Welcome back, folks. We're here, back for qualifying here at Belgium. Do apologise for the issues we've had with the stream. I'm hoping that we've gone somewhere close to fixing it now. Obviously, not an ideal scenario as we now see Krajcic coming through into the bus stop chicane. Obviously, I'm hoping now that's hopefully rectified a few of the problems there. Do apologise, folks. 3 minutes left in qualifying. Tom 97 still leads the charge right now, heading down the stretch towards the bus stop chicane. Tom 97 in the Alfa Romeo, once again looking to go quicker as he rounds into the bus stop once again. Heads out onto the main straight past the paddock. Here comes the Alfa Romeo. Is it going to be P1? It certainly is. He goes quicker again with a 154.324. Absolutely outstanding from Tom 97. Norbert Jakob as well in P2. He's about to come round. So's Florian Napik. He's on the start of his flying lap. Paris Burel out as well. Jan Fieler, who's going on. I think he's had a little bit of an incident. Still no change on the broadcast. Do apologise, folks. Just can't get this to work. I don't know what's going on. I have not had a problem like this before. I don't know what's causing it. We've got skip frames detected according to my side now, and it's... I don't have an answer for you, folks. I do apologise. I do not have an answer as to why this is happening. So, obviously, I appreciate there's a problem. But we are struggling at the moment. Scrippy now coming down towards the back end of this circuit here in Sector 3. About to head over to the bus stop chicane now. Here comes the Merc. Looking to once again go quicker here. Scrippy can do just that. He's not far off the pace of Norbert Jakob, who has gone to P1. Tom 97 in P2. So Norbert Jakob has got to be delighted with his performance here today. Florian Napik heading down towards bus stop as well. Can Florian here tickle the top end? 147, 148 as he rounds the bus stop now, heading onto the main straight. The Alfa Romeo team. Scrippy goes into P2. Great lap by Scrippy as Florian now comes to join him. What's Florian going to net here? It's going to be a 5th place is where he's going to say 157 is no improvement. Indeed, as Warren as well, BDG Warren nets a 154.362 to stick himself on P4. And unbelievable. I'll be right back, folks. I'll try one last thing. If this doesn't work, obviously, we're going to be up against it. Currently, though, Norbert Jakob is currently on pole position. We've got a couple of laps, but Tom 97 on pole position now with a 154.038. A phenomenal lap indeed by the Alfa Romeo man, the championship leader, proving to show, or at least showing, why he is just that. Scrippy as well, out on a fast lap, so is Warren as well. A lot of the top names there. Paris Burel about to come into Sector 3. We'll try and tackle the stream issues as we end qualifying. Jan Fieler is about to come across the line as well. A 155.635 is all he could amount to. It's still got a lot of work to do. Further back, Michael Tanitsa out on track 2 in Sector 3. Heading further up now, Florian Napik also out, so Scrippy. Norbert Jakob coming around bus stop. Is he going to be posting a faster lap to nestle into P1? We'll soon find out as he comes up towards the line. Norbert Jakob up towards the line. It's a 150.59.
Apex Online Racing is...
Right, folks, do apologise. We've had a series of issues here today, which obviously have not lended themselves well at all. Obviously, apologies for the drop in quality on the stream. I'm still, at this moment in time, not aware of what the issues were. I've messed with a few things now. The settings have changed, so I'm hoping that this is a lot cleaner for you. Obviously, do apologise for what's happened here tonight. It certainly looks okay from my side of things. Obviously, you guys might discover it quicker than me, to be quite honest. But that's the nature of the beast where it comes to broadcasting and commentating. I was only brought in the last hour or so. We've managed to find out, of course, that we're just sorting out the grids now. Just at this moment in time, so we will advise you. At this moment in time, I believe Tom97 is on pole for the race, so we will be able to start from that point of view. They have to do a new lobby, of course, because we only have 11 drivers. They'll all be starting on equal terms, so that's going to be the situation in terms of the race, as is fair in F1 racing. So we will very shortly be heading out towards the new lobby, and that will be. We should be all set and ready to go. We're just waiting for clarification off the grid order. So Jan Fieler currently leading the way. So yeah, guys, glad to be back. Obviously not an ideal start to the broadcast. Do apologise. Just one of those things, unfortunately. The wonders of technology, I have to say. I obviously usually broadcast, or I have broadcasted for previous leagues. I've just come and joined AOR here today for the first time, and in a long time. It's meant to be my triumphant return, but at the moment it's been a bit of a tough restart. But I hope you guys are all keeping well anyway. Do apologise, like I said before, for all the issues with the broadcast. Hopefully we can turn it around and have a great race. So obviously, if there's any issues, guys, please say, and we'll have to review as we go on. But obviously we're here in Belgium. Great to be here, of course. And I'm very much looking forward to bringing you this extraordinary race. Obviously, some top-end drivers here. Tom97, of course, truly one of the top streamers around at this moment in time, and someone we're really looking forward to seeing how he performs on track. Obviously, here in Belgium, like I said, prior to us starting qualifying, it's a very phenomenal circuit, and I've got the grid order here. In fact, Tom97 is your P1 sitter. This is the finalised grid order, folks. Tom97 is your P1 sitter. Norbert there in P2. Paris Burel, P3. We got Scrippy P4. Warren in P5. Krajcic in P6. Florian is in P7. Josh P8. Brownie P9. Jan Fieler P10. Christian P11. Michael Tanita in P12. So that's your 12 drivers here, rounded off for this PC Tier 1 race indeed. And we look forward to bringing it to you, folks. It's going to be absolutely extraordinary to see who performs at their best here. It's going to be absolutely outstanding, and we'll very shortly be heading out onto the track to begin this extraordinary race. And obviously, like we say in Belgium, it takes truly the toughest drivers to excel their way around this circuit. Obviously, it's a hybrid of tight weaving corners, including a couple of 90-degree bends if you include the bus stop chicane, where you almost have to turn back in yourself to then jet back round. It's one of the tightest chicanes in the F1 calendar, that's for sure. Almost call it a semi-chicane of sorts. I believe now we're all about ready to actually join us back on track. Very shortly we'll be ready for the start of the race. Keep it with us, folks. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. Obviously, I want to hear your predictions as well for this Grand Prix. Please leave them in the chat box as well, who you think is going to win this really phenomenal event. And obviously race 14 here in this AOR season. And it's going to truly be a great drive for whoever claims that P1 spot. Absolutely brilliant stuff as we now wait for the drivers to take to the circuit. It's going to be an interesting one to say the least. Tom97, of course, the championship leader, currently on pole position, which will put him in a great spot. See little Crofty there saying, "Come on, you Tom." And we've got plenty of drivers out there looking to make a difference out on this circuit. Up the Tom indeed, says Lil Crofty. And we're about to get ready for the off here at Belgium. Dry track this time instead of a wet race. So this is going to be very exciting indeed. And looking forward to seeing what these guys can do out on this phenomenal circuit. Great to see the sunshine in the sky as well. And the session will be about to start here, folks. Hope you're all keeping well, bracing for the start of this extraordinary race. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. I can't wait. So do keep it with us. It's going to be absolutely sensational. Here we are, 10 seconds left until we commence the start of this Grand Prix. Keep it with us, folks. So we are, first light. It's going to be first light, second light, and then, well, they're away for the formation lap, so we can actually get an opportunity to see what these drivers are all about here on the track here today. And there you can see Tom 97 making his way around through La Source. Very soon he'll be making his rise up through. We can actually give you a guided tour of this circuit. Of course, Belgium, obviously very, very famous in Formula 1 racing, synonymous with F1 racing as he makes his way up Eau Rouge through Radion and heading up towards past the DRS section, heading towards Les Combes. Now, this is the Kemmel Straight. And, of course, you can now see Tom 97 just weaving in and out to warm up the tyres. Of course, they'll be warming up the brakes. This is a very opportune moment for these guys to obviously ensure that they're all set and ready for the Grand Prix. Heading round turn 5, round turn 7 as well. This being Malmedy. And this is where, obviously, you can be thrown onto the track, of course. A lot of cars are guilty of throwing themselves out wide over the curbs, heading around Rivage now. This being turn 8. And very soon, round towards the corner with no name, turn 9. And heading down towards the semi-stretch towards Pouhon. Now, Pouhon is turns 10 and 11. Tom 97 will be taking them round here. Norbert Jakob in P2 as well for the AlphaTauri team. And what an exciting prospect he's going to have as well. Him and Tom 97 down towards the source to get the race underway. Fascinating encounter we have here as they run around Fardney. Heading around towards turn 13. And then they'll be making their way down towards turn 14 and then Stavelo, of course. And as they do so, you can just see, look at the contingent of cars here rushing around this Belgian circuit. Of course, it's absolutely a delightful scene here. Delightful scene here at Belgium. You can see the mountains here all across the circuit. A very picturesque landscape here in Spa. As we've got a host migration now. Hopefully that won't cause too many issues. We'll give you the tyre deltas as well here, folks. Obviously to keep you up to date with what goes on in terms of the tyre gaps. There's the predicted pit stop strategy. It's a one-stop race without question. The softs go in around towards 8 laps. But as we now see Tom 97 heading down towards his bay indeed on the circuit. Nicola Bannon, frames good quality, not too great. It's obviously, it's better than where we were before, I think. At least we're going. So it's good to be back. Oh, we just had a disconnection by looks of it, folks. I think they've had, I gotta say, it'd be great if we can actually get to a point where things
Apex Online
go right for us here tonight. It looks like we've had a lobby failure. So that's not gonna help. Unbelievable. One final restart. So, yeah, we've had a glitch person, so we got a lobby restart, folks. So, do apologise. We're going to have the formation lap again, I think. Gotta say. Looks like we've got another start to this race. Obviously, do apologise, folks, for all the delays here today. It hasn't quite gone to plan. There again, the wonders of IT. Computing technology. It has obviously drawn us out a little longer. So do keep it with us, folks. We will bring you back up to speed, I am sure. 20 viewers in the live chat, folks. Great to have you all on board. Yeah, Lil Crofty, Classic F1 2020 indeed. Scrippy couldn't take control of his car, apparently. So that's the update that we have. Unfortunately, Scrippy not able to rejoin the lobby as he would have liked, but we will get underway. We will have a race for you, so do not go away. We are determined, folks, determined to get something sorted for you. So it will not be long, I am sure. We've already amassed 41 minutes onto this broadcast, so thanks to everyone for joining us here tonight. Of course, please leave obviously a comment as well. You know, keep in touch with everyone here in the live stream. Obviously, I'll be reading comments as we go. Obviously recovering from that earlier stream issue. I'm glad that we're back to normal here, folks. Dynamic weather, of course, still on the cards for everybody here today. And it's going to be an interesting one. That's certainly to say the least. As we'll find out how the weather goes as we head into the session. I believe the invites are being rolled out now as we speak, so we will be back in situ, folks. Here we are indeed. Okay, so any moment now the lobby will start again. Again, I'll ask you for your predictions. Obviously, we've already had one formation lap, which obviously did not go to plan. A couple of drivers could not rejoin the session, so we're coming back again. We'll call this take 2, shall we? Here for this AOR stream. Yes, indeed. It is ridiculous, Jakob. I totally understand. Obviously, it's my first return. I wasn't going to commentate tonight at all. I'm a commentator of it. I have been commentating at ORL up to now, and obviously I've now come over here to AOR. As for my plans for the future, still none the wiser at this stage, but I will keep you guys updated. But looking forward to getting this PC F1 race underway. Of course, at this moment in time, the grid order is obviously suggesting Tom97 will be on pole, of course. It will be as it was. Any minute we will get re-underway for the start of this race, folks. Do keep it with us. But I hope you're all keeping well. Again, I want to hear your comments, hear your predictions for the start of this race. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. It's going to be interesting to see how these guys actually determine or how they manage the different conditions here. Obviously, when it comes down to dynamic conditions, anything can happen. With us having restarts, of course, and lobby changes, it does mean that the drivers will get their options of tyres. So no one will have a fear of an issue in terms of tyre wear. Just waiting for the lobby to begin. We're just waiting on one more driver, I believe, folks. We will be right back. Lil Crofty, massive Eau Rouge pile-up. Hopefully not, Lil Crofty. Hopefully we don't see any of that. Nicola Banham, first Tom97, second Paris, third and Norbit. That's the prediction from Nicola Banham. So that could be a very, very probable finish. Paris Burrell, of course, has been impressive recently. Second in the championship. Third, Norbit as well. We're going to go with Norbit, of course. Norbit, who, I've got to say, looked impressive in qualifying. P2, he managed to amass from the start. So he's definitely got a lot of pace behind him here. And certainly Tom97 will have to have his wits about him here. Because, of course, anything can happen in F1 racing. We now graciously wait an update, folks. We will keep you updated as things go on. Waiting for Tom97 and Brownie to join the session. We will keep you updated, folks, as time goes on indeed. I think in the midst of things, I think what we'll do is we'll take a short break just for a few moments and we'll be right back with you. Do bear with us. back, folks. We're just about to get ready for the off here. All the drivers ready and raring to go. Just loading up. Shiny Apple, how many drivers? 11. We've got 12 here tonight. Shiny Apple. Predictions, obviously. Still, Nicola Banham saying Tom 97, Paris, and third for Norbert. So we'll soon see if that pays off, obviously, as we now get ready for the drivers to show up on the grid order. I believe it's 12, actually, we've got at the moment anyway. Looking at the screens, it certainly does look that way. We're now about to head in for the start of this Grand Prix. We're going to be in for a real clinical finish here, folks. Obviously, lots of quality drivers here. Tom 97, obviously leading the championship, as we have said before. Paris Burel, P2 in the title race. And Brownie in P3, Andonator P4, of course. Andonator not here as of yet. Of course, we got Brownie in P3, of course. We were looking forward to seeing out on track. Obviously, looking to close the gap on Paris. Paris are going to close the gap on Tom 97. Still very much a title fight on the cards here. And obviously, we'll now head over to this race. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal, folks. Looking forward to bringing it to you, indeed. As we get ready to witness the drivers coming out onto the circuit. As we said before, obviously, the drivers get their chance at fresh tyres across the grid. Seeing as we only have a small number of cars throughout this grid order, it's going to give everyone an opportunity. So hopefully we'll see some battles, and obviously the strategies will come into play, seeing as we get a whole grid that get to pick their tyres. And Tom 97, little crofty Tom will bottle it. Plenty of bottles out on track. Let's hope not. Let's hope we see a good solid fight between these guys. It'll certainly be interesting as they're about to get ready for the formation lap here again at Belgium. And here they go now. The lights beginning to form up, folks. And away they go for this formation lap for this phenomenal Belgian Grand Prix here in AOR. Just to say as well, folks, don't forget to check out Apex Online Racing. Feel free to subscribe, leave a like as well. And be sure to check out Hype Energy and Elgato, of course, two sponsors that have been with AOR for a long period of time. Great relationship with those guys as well. And do show your support. Obviously, as everything is in sim racing, technical difficulties can, no doubt, pounce across the grid order. As we're now witnessing Tom 97 warm up his tyres. If you just look at him now heading up towards Les Combes. Nicola Banham offering her support to Tom 97. Rarely makes mistakes, she says. And he is certainly a man, a force to be reckoned with. Imagine he's well prepped and tutored, ready for this race at Belgium as he rounds the next right-hander, of course, being Ravage, heading out towards the next left, of course. That being the corner with no name. There's the pit stop strategies, folks. 8 to 10 lap strategy here. Softs into mediums, though you'd have seen the majority of cars out on track starting on the medium tyre. So the question is, do you want to be quick at the start or quick at the end? Norbert Jakob, though, qualifying where he did on softs. He's going to be a little bit exposed. The fact that Tom 97 was able to find the pace he has on mediums will surely give him a huge advantage going into this race. Obviously, the objective across the grid now is to ensure that the tyres are nice and sticky around this dry circuit. And they want to try and make the most of it, that's for sure. Certainly, the brakes will need to be up to temperature as well to avoid too many issues concerning locking up. Nothing worse than having cold brakes. It can send you into obscurity, certainly around corners like the bus stop chicane, where good proactive braking is required. As we now see Tom 97 heading down towards the next right-hander. The Alfa Romeo, you can just see him vigorously trying to warm up those tyres. Tom 97 on P1, Norbert Jakob P2. Who's going to take the dynamic move down towards La Source? Of course, that turn 1 can make or break your race if you're not careful, as we now see them marching up towards their grid slots now. The Alfa Romeo team looking to try and trounce Red Bull here in the Constructors' title as Tom 97 moves onto his grid spot. They're all forming up across the grid. There you can see the drivers littered across the track. Michael Tanitsa taking his place at the back of the grid. Here we go, folks. I haven't seen the lights go red yet. Hopefully very soon we will do. As we now wait for the start of this Belgian Grand Prix. Still no sight on the lights just yet. I think Cody's is making us wait on this one as we wait for the start of this Grand Prix. Still no movement yet. Everyone seems pretty much stuck where they are right now. I don't know what to make of this, folks. Truly is. First light, second light, third light, fourth light, the fifth light! And it's pedal to the metal. Go, 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 go. Top 97 cuts across the track to try and defend from Norman Jakob, who takes the aggressive line down the outside. On the soft tyres, round La Source now. Top 97 still owning P1 for now. Norman Jakob, wheel to wheel, heading up towards Eau Rouge. Indeed, it's going to be the soft tyres taking the advantage. That being Norman Jakob into P1. Top 97 in P2. Being closely followed by Paris Burel. Heading up now the Kemmel Straight. In behind, we got Scrippy as well as they make their way up towards Laycombe. It's still BDG Warren who's in front. All three of them coming into turn one, and it's Top 97 trying to challenge into that first initial few bends, but still Norman Jakob in P1, Top 97 P2, Paris Burel down in P3 as they round the next right-hander. This, of course, being Rivage, a nudge in the back there from Paris Burel on Top 97 as they begin to settle down. BDG Warren, as well as you can now see Paris Burel trying to really take the bull by the horns here as they round Pouon. What a move indeed by Paris Burel, majestic there from the Red Bull car as Top 97 comes into play. In mind as well, we've got a safety car. We've got a safety car, in fact, not quite sure who or why that's for, or who or what that's for. Jan Feeler, I think, came a cropper at the start. He's at the back of the grid. But no DNFs as far as we can see, folks. Top 97 in P3. But the safety car is out on track, so they will have to gather up together again. Amazing scenes here. There's BDG Warren in P4. Red Bull currently in Ps 2 and 4. So as they make their way down towards what will be the next left, of course, this being that section where they come around Blanchimont into turn 17. Bus stop next. As they make their way down now, Norman Jakob still leading the fray. I'm not sure actually if the safety car is out, you know. I'm wondering if this is another glitch. It might not be. I'm still not quite. I'm still none the wiser, folks. Norman Jakob is in front. The safety car is still reading on my screen, but I cannot see or make head or tail of it right now. I think at this moment in time, Jakob... They're still powering through. Norman Jakob is still in front. And there's the safety car. So indeed, they are slowing down. It was a case that they were trying to catch up to the safety car, not try and reduce the delta time. We've lost Dylan Warren. I'm not sure quite what's happened there, but he's actually out of the session. So whether that's a retirement, I don't think it is, at least for now. He's still in the race. Norman Jakob, though, leading the way. You can see the cars now looking to keep their tyres warm, the drivers. Obviously, it's up to them to ensure that their tyres and their brake temps are at optimal temperature, as we now see that Warren has rejoined the session. So that's certainly a good thing to see. But Red Bull have had their advantage stripped right now, as Paris Burel is down in P6. Well, according to this P6, that's not true. He's in fact in P2. Dylan Warren down in P4, not P7, folks. So do not pay attention to that classification. It is in fact incorrect, as we now see. In front, Norman Jakob leading the way on the softs. In behind them, Paris Burel P2. Still the tyres need to be maintained here. Top 97 P3. Further down, you got Scrippy and Krajcic as well as they make their way around the next left. You see that safety car making its way around. Just look at this contingent of phenomenal cars here making their way around the middle sector here at Belgium. And the Mercedes safety car now taking them around, coasting around the next right-hander. Top 97 P3 didn't get the best of starts there. Not a start he would have wanted. As they make their way around the next right-hander indeed. The Alfa Romeo still holding on to that podium place, albeit he probably would have wanted a little bit more. He's got Paris Burel there in P2. Norman Jakob in P1. And as they do so now, they'll be making their way down towards turn 16, that being Blanchimont. Then there'll be turn 17 as well. Down towards turn 18 will be bus stop. So they'll have another lap, I think, at least of the safety car. So this will allow them to keep the tyres warm. Obviously, good news for Norman Jakob as well, who is on the soft tyre. It will allow him, obviously, to try and maintain the grip levels on that tyre and at least get through another lap. without having to wear them out. And as they head down towards what will be the La Source Bend. You can just see them there in the background. Lots of cars now trying to line up in tandem. You can see the two racing points are together as well. Krajcic and Josh. Of course, Josh himself, P10 this season. Currently 33 points. Only 5 at the moment. Or at least 5, well, 5 behind, or at least ahead of him. Well, if he gets another 5 points, he'll be ahead of Dylan Warren, of course. BDG Warren currently in 4th place. The Racing Point car looking to nestle himself some good points. But obviously, Dylan Warren finishing where he will obviously allow him to maintain his spot at least. But just looking across the grid, we've got some phenomenal drivers across this, and Christian Sanders being one of them. He's currently in P8 for the Ferrari team. Christian Sendel, shall I say, heading around the middle sector into the next chicane. Ferrari could do with an upturn in their fortunes. P8 in the constructors standings right now. 27 points to their name. They are, at this moment in time, 22 points behind AlphaTauri, their Italian compatriots, on this grid classification. Of course, Norbert Jakob representing the AlphaTauri team. So currently on for maximum points if he keeps this up. Further down, Michael Tanitsu, who's gained a couple of places, albeit Brownie dropped down to P11 with Jan Fieler, of course, in P12. Just nicking a little bit of the turf there was Jan Fieler as they come round towards Pouon now. And Norbert Jakob still leads them around. Indeed, the safety car still out on track. We're waiting confirmation as to whether the safety car will be coming into the pits for this lap. Very strange to see it out on track. Certainly considering the fact that there was not a DNF. Usually it's if a car's parked in an unsafe environment, that's usually when the safety car makes an appearance. But we have got confirmation that it is in this lap. So Norbert Jakob is going to be the man to press the button, if you so to speak, and get this race back underway. You can see he's trying to generate a hefty gap in between him and the safety car now. And they're starting to bunch up as they head around Blanchimont. As they're about to head around Blanchimont anyway. Soon they'll be making their way down towards bus stop. And Norbert Jakob can certainly be pleased with the start, but albeit he's still on softs and he's still got a contingent of medium cars, medium tyre compounds behind him here. Paris Burrell being one of them. And Norbert Jakob has indeed pushed the button and zoomed off down towards bus stop. Heading towards the first corner now. He's going to have to get a nice exit out of bus stop indeed. Paris Burrell just clocking every move he makes here as they make their way down towards La Source. And as they do so, on the restart, no real changes have been made. Further back, you can now see Krajcic all over the back of Josh here, his teammate. Well, Josh all over the back of him, shall I say. Krajcic, his teammate here, as they make their way out to La Source, heading down the home stretch. And Krajcic now has got Scrippy for a view here as they make their way through Eau Rouge. Out up towards what will be Radion, and indeed it's still going to be Norbert Jakob in front, but here on board with Krajcic, who is currently just over 0.3 of a second behind that of the Mercedes. They head up towards Les Combes now. Here comes Paris Burrell trying to close the gap on Norbert Jakob. Still, these two gunning for it here. Tom 97, a gap between him and Paris Burrell extended to 1.3 seconds. Not ideal, certainly, for our championship leader as they head round the next right-hander. Certainly Tom 97 want to be closer to Paris Burrell than BDG Warren, at least for the time being, in behind Scrippy. Trying to close the gap on Warren, indeed. Krajcic in behind him too. Just look at them come down in tandem through Pouon here. 3-second time penalty applied to Michael Tornitsa, who manages to get an overtake on Florian Napik, but obviously suffered an off-track there and has been penalised. But you'd expect him to make moves, certainly, on the soft compounded tyre as he makes his way through the middle sector. Christian Sender there in P8 indeed. Christian Sender looking to move up and close the gap on SMM Josh now as they make their way through Sector 3 now, round towards the curves leading through Blanchimont. Through ahead now Scrippy as well in P5, making their way down towards the bus stop chicane now in the Mercedes. Ahead of him now Warren, who's in P4, Tom 97 P3 as they make their way down towards what will be La Source now. Still Norbert Jakob leads, 7.5 of a second is the gap to Paris Burrell, who's in P2 for the Red Bull team. Past the paddock now, the crowd's lit up around here at Belgium as the cars now zoom down towards La Source once again. Lap 5 of 22, folks. Near enough a quarter into this Grand Prix, this Belgian Grand Prix. And Norbert Jakob still leads the way. Paris Burel in P2, further back Tom 97. BDG Warren there in P4. As they come up now towards the next winding section, Brownie has made a move here on Florian Napik, heading up towards Lake Com, and what a move that is. You can just see Florian looking to try and tag back on that Renault as they make their way down towards the next right-hander. Another move here, the Racing Points, as Josh gets past Krajcic, who I believe has actually left the session because he's in jeopardy as Christian Sendel sends it down the inside. He sendels it through that initial Sector 1 bend into Sector 2. And Michael Tanita, of course, making waves as well. Cruises around Pouon and gets ahead of Krajcic, who is actually dropping down to P9. Brownie not far behind either. And that's a phenomenal state of affairs indeed. That means that Krajcic now has been relegated 2 places as Christian Sendel and Michael Tanita go up a spot each indeed. That's a phenomenal series of manoeuvres there as Josh now makes his way around the next right-hander. He's got Scrippy ahead of him in the Mercedes. Scrippy has got his own battle on as well with Warren as they make their way around Blanchimont once again. And riding on board with Josh as they make their way down towards the bus stop chicane. The Pink Panther here, the Racing Point, looking to once again apply dominance here. Sergio Perez, of course, picked up a win last week at the Sakhir Grand Prix as we're now seeing Josh make his way down towards La Source here. The Pink Panther looking to scream dominance here. Scrippy now already closing the gap on the back of Warren. He's brought it in to about 7/10 of a second, down a tenth at least. As they make their way up towards La Source once again, you can see ahead Warren in P4, Scrippy in P5, trying to close the gap. Paris Burel in second place still though. Jakob has actually managed to draw out another advantage to his lead. He's currently 3/10 of a second on top of where he was in the last lap. As we're now seeing Scrippy come through Lake Com, chasing Dylan Warren, who is in P4. Nothing between these two. Literally half a second is all that separates them as they head around this next right-hander. This, of course, being Ravage, turn 8. Very soon they'll be rounding turn 9. And in behind him, Josh as well in P6 has managed to regain some of that delta that he lost. And, of course, Scrippy with his 3-second time penalty is not going to help him through this race. And as things stand, if things stay the way they are, Christian Sendel and Josh could jump Scrippy and move up into the Ps 4 and 5 spots. Just losing it a bit there, Scrippy, losing the tail end there, and that will not help. Certainly that gap is going to reduce even more so as Josh now rounds the next right-hander, letting fly here at Scrippy. As they head down towards the next left, still it is Norbert Jakob who leads. In P2, Paris Burel. Tom 97 still not closing the gap on Paris Burel at this moment in time. The Alfa Romeo still stuck. Literally 1.5 seconds the gap as they head through towards bus stop now. Scrippy locking up slightly, the smoke you can see coming off those tyres. And Josh is able to close the gap a little bit more as they head down towards what will be La Source once again. And Josh, who's in P6 still, trying to close the gap. He's literally pushing with everything he's got. Krajcic back in the frame as well. Only half a second behind Michael Tanita, who is in P8 with a penalty to his name as well. As they come up towards the next left and right, this being Eau Rouge once again, heading up through it now. Still, Michael Tanita ahead in P8. Krajcic there in P9, trying to close the gap. 0.6 of a second, the distance between the two of them right now. As they head up towards, well, through the Kemmel Straight up towards Lake Com. And Krajcic still in P9, still letting fly. And Michael Tanita, Christian Sendel in P7. As we look further up as well, Scrippy in P5. A lock up there from Scrippy indeed. And once again, that's not going to help. He seems to be struggling with the brakes on that Mercedes, at least for the time being, as they round the corner with no name, heading down through towards Pouon. This being, of course, turn 10. A double left this one is. He swings the rear end round. And you can live in fear of that actually spinning out on circuit. But he gained extraordinary traction through there and comes around the next right-hander through Farnier, in through turn 13. Riding every curve possible, making use of all of the track, and that's exactly what he needs to do to get an advantage here. He's got BDG Warren there in P4 as he ran the next right-hander now. Through towards what will be Blanchimont, turn 16 and 17. And 0.6 of a second is the delta gap between Scrippy and Warren right now as they make their way down towards bus stop to complete lap 7 of 22 here, folks. Still Norbert Jakob leads, 1.1 seconds the gap to Paris Burel in P2. Norbert's actually coming to the pit, so that in fact has allowed
Paris Burel to take the lead of this race. Tom 97 moves up to P2. Warren moves up to P3. So the strategy has started here for Norbert Jakob. Obviously the AlphaTauri is moving on to the mediums now. That will see him out to the end of the race. We're in lap 8 of 22 here, folks. And the way things are strung out right now, there will be an interesting encounter, certainly amassed in the pit stops, as we're now seeing Dylan Warren making his way up the stretch. Now it's important here to maintain a good level of traction on this car through Les Combes, as we can now see Warren on the outset of Les Combes heading round what will be Malmedy, heading down towards Rivage now, turn 8. Rounding the corner with no name, of course, very, very shortly, that being turn 9. Very soon they'll be making their way down towards Pouhon. And as you can now see, Dylan Warren has got his eyes set on one man only. That's Tom 97, the championship leader, who could very well be under pressure very, very shortly. Half a second, the delta gap between Tom 97 and Dylan Warren right now. Scrippy down in P4 as well, another half a second back from Dylan Warren. Josh as well has come into play, so the grid order is starting to string out very nicely here. Not a lot of gaps between the bunch of them, as we get a little bit of a glitch there with Dylan Warren, who seems to be flaking out on the track slightly, but won't disturb him too much. There's a little bit of a shake there from the Red Bull, and that is not going to help things, certainly as they make their way down towards what will be bus stop. And still Paris Burel leads by 1.5 seconds. He's managed to increase the gap still on Tom 97, who's got bigger problems on his mind. He's got PDG Warren there in P3, who's currently hightailing it around bus stop now, heading down the stretch here in lap 9 of 22. And the pit window has opened for the medium tyres. They are expected to pit here in lap 9 and 10. So that is when the soft tyres will come into play. As we now see Warren now making his way down towards the next chicane. And the Red Bull car looking to really power up dominance here up through the stretch now. Past the DRS section. Of course, DRS will be open here for Dylan Warren as they come up through towards Les Combes. In behind as well, Scrippy. Following in tandem. Just look how close Warren is getting now to the rear end of Tom 97. Closer by the moment here is that Red Bull livery as they make their way down towards the next right-hander. Here indeed, it's going to be Warren and Tom 97. A lock-up from the pair of them there. Slightly worse coming from Dylan Warren as they come around the next left-hander. This being Pouhon as well, down towards turns 10 and, well, down towards turn 11 at least. And it's going to be Dylan Warren letting fly here at Tom 97. The delta gap remains still very much the same. 0.5 of a second at this stage, up to 0.6 now as they head round the next right-hander at Farnier. Round towards turn 13, turn 14 next. And very soon they'll be making their way down towards Stavolo, which is this corner here, turn 15. And Dylan Warren dropping back slightly, 0.2 surrendered in this lap alone, as they make their way round towards what will be Blanchimont. Florian Napik is actually retired from the session. That's a DNF. Not quite sure what happened to him, but he is planted into the wall. And Norbert Jakob now, who's on his own at the rear, 5 seconds away from Jan Fieler, as we now see Paris Burel make his first stop. Tom 97 coming in as well, chasing the leader. As they come up now, Tom 97 looking to gain as much advantage as possible in the pit lane. And he has indeed got a little bit closer. In comes Paris Burel. The soft tyres will be brought in. They're stacking Red Bull. Red Bull is stacking. That is not ideal at all. And that will cost Warren a lot of time. As Tom 97, who's serving, I think, a little bit of a penalty here. Or it's actually the car's leaving the pit lane. That's going to hold him up, that's for sure. As he now leaves that grid slot, Christian Sendel leading the way. We have indeed got a safety car for Florian Napik's DNF. So that will mean that they will group up once again. So no surprises now why they went for the double stack. PDG Warren now out in P7. So that's going to certainly disadvantage him. Bear in mind, he was further up the classifications earlier on in this race as Paris Burel, who at this moment is in a real good position to win this race right now. And so is Norbert Jakob, who of course has only just stopped. So he was able to stay out. He has now reclaimed that claimed that P3 spot. Of course, remember, he was leading this Grand Prix from the start. And now he's down in P3. So this is the second safety car of the session. Of course, the first one was a mystery. Obviously, this one in response to Florian's incident there. He was heading around what looked to be turn 14, I think it was. It was just after Farnier, heading into turn 13. And they then head into turn 14, and I think that was where he had his incident. And Norbert Jakob, who obviously pitted first as part of his strategy, starting on the softs, ending on the mediums. He's going to be in for the great shout, and now him and Paris Burel are going to be fighting it right to the end. Of course, Christian Sendel, who is still yet to pit himself, currently leads them around. He will have the responsibility of the restart when we get round to it, folks. This is the section, of course, where we did in fact lose Florian Napik. And that was indeed turn 14. As you can now see Christian Sendel there trying to just maintain a steady pace behind the safety car, warming up the tyres at the same time. Tom 97 on fresh softs. You got to think that Norbert Jakob is going to know that he's going to be under the pressure here of Tom 97. Plenty of opportunities here for all these guys to pull off some interesting strategies here, folks. You now watch them head down towards bus stop. And it's going to be interesting to see how Christian gets the getaway here. I'd imagine the safety car will be in on the next lap, folks, so do keep it with us. As the cars make their way down towards La Source, we are literally halfway through this Grand Prix now. Lap 11 of 22. BDG Warren there in P7. Of course, a very tenacious character, very, very quick as well. So do not be surprised if he tries to splash his way through this grid classification. Of course, he's got two hard tyre compounds ahead of him, that being Scrippy and Josh, of course. Very surprised, in fact, that they've donned the hard tyre compound. Certainly with only 11 laps remaining. It's going to really put a lot of pressure on them to get a positive result in this race. Certainly as things stand right now, Warren on these fresh soft tyres will certainly benefit from the restart. And you'd imagine that he'd probably dispatch the likes of Scrippy and Josh, who are on that compounded tyre, the lesser compound, should we say. Certainly in terms of pace, very, very easily. But as they make their way now around the next right-hander, this of course being that Melmedi section, down towards Rivage, turn 8. And Warren now just planting his car, tucked in behind Josh right now. Taking the long way around this right-hander. As he now makes his way around turn 10. Of course now Pouon and Christian Sendel. Christian Sendel will certainly be in with the responsibility. Any moment now I'm sure we'll get notification as to when the safety car will be coming in, folks. As we ride on board with Christian Sendel as they come around the next right-hander. This being Fanier down towards turn 13. And very soon, around turn 14 yet again. Ferrari on top spot, at least for now. But for how long can Christian Sendel hold on to it here? Because, of course, Paris Burel is going to be all over him like a nasty rash, given the fact that he's on the soft tyres. The safety car is indeed in this lap. Christian Sendel back in the pack up here as we get ready for the restart. There's Paris Burel in P2. Norbert Jakob in P3. Tom 97 P4. Scrippy down in P5, Josh in P6, Dylan Warren in P7, Michael Tanitsa in P8, Brownie P9, Jan Fila P10, and Krajcic rounds off your 11-man grid here in the AOR PC Tier 1 race. Hope you all enjoyed the race so far. It's certainly been intriguing as Christian Sendel now waits patiently to get us back underway. And there he goes. We've lost Dylan Warren as indeed they round the bus stop as we now see Christian Sendel rounding the bus stop chicane. A little bit of a lock up there, and this is going to allow Paris Burel maybe an opening heading down towards what will be La Source now. And Warren now has dropped right to the tail of the field. Krajcic has gone ahead of him here. And a little bit of a slip there from Sendel as they come down the stretch now, heading up towards what will be a Rouge. Tom 97 trying to close the gap on Norbert Jakob as well. We got battles all across the grid here, and certainly with the grid tightening up for the remaining, what would be the remaining 10 laps of this Grand Prix, as we now see Christian Sendel going toe-to-toe with Paris Burel. Paris Burel strikes the front before the corner heading into Lane Com. Here comes Norbert Jakob on the fresh mediums and gets it done. A great move by Norbert Jakob, and certainly after what was a very, very interesting start where he was leading the way, he now snatches back P2. In comes Tom 97 with a great move as well. Sendel losing spots by the moment. 3 spots lost in one sector alone here as we now see Tom 97 bombing down towards Puon. He is chasing, let him fly here, and Norbert Jakob just look at the pace on this Alfa Romeo as they head round this next left, heading down towards the next right-hander. Still Paris Burel leads, a second is the gap. A lock-up there from Tom 97, just lost the car slightly there. Norbert Jakob as well losing time, however, as they make their way around towards the next right-hander. The softs versus the mediums. That is certainly the story here today, here in lap 12 of 22. And as they make their way down towards Blanchimont, here comes Tom 97 now, the championship leader, looking to do the business here on top of Norbert Jakob as they come down towards bus stop. And he might get a move done here into the bus stop chicane. A late break here from Tom 97. Just smooths it round here around the bus stop chicane. But Norbert Jakob proving to be a very feisty character as they come down now. Paris Burel with the fastest lap. Tom 97 pushes his car. The Alfa Romeo streaks through on the inside, takes the aggressive line and gets into P2 out of La Source. A great move indeed by Tom 97. Superb manoeuvre. And he now makes his way up through towards Eau Rouge now, chasing Paris Burel, who's now got a 2-second advantage after the battling that took place between Tom 97 and Norbert Jakob. Norbert's still in the frame though, 2/10, currently the difference maker here in lap 13 of 22 as they come up towards Les Combes now. The Alfa Romeo is still on top in P2, but you can see Norbert still pushing and prodding on the back of that Alfa Romeo as they come down the stretch now, leading towards Rivage, which is turn 8. A lock-up again from both cars. Here again, they seem to be struggling with the grip as they make their way around now towards the next left-hander, hugging every curb. Norbert Jakob giving it everything as they come down now. Jan Fieler moving up into P8. They've got a battle here wheel to wheel as they make their way down towards Puon. Brownie now letting fly at Jan Fieler as they round it together. In mind as well, Krajcic, but it's going to be Brownie who nestles himself in P8 as well. Jan Fieler down in P9. The McLaren doing all he can to try and poke back against this Renault of Brownie F1 as they round the next right-hander still. Krajcic there in P10, watching all this unfold as they come out now out of the S section down towards what will be Blanchimont very, very shortly. And of course that being turn 17 here in lap 13 of 22. Michael Tanisa in P6, also trying to close down on Christian Sendel as they come down towards bus stop. And still the Williams trying to coast back here on Christian Sendel, who of course had that disastrous visit in that last lap, and he's beginning to find it very difficult on those medium tyres. They make their way down towards La Source now. Michael Tanita eyeing up a move here on Christian Sendel now. A slight lock up there from Christian Sendel as they come on the outset now, heading up towards what will be Eau Rouge. And the two of them now, as they do so, looking to really spoke a difference in their race weekends as they make their way up through towards the Kemmel Straight. And still Paris Burel leads. That gap though being brought down by Tom 97, albeit very, very short, as Norbert Jakob tries to ride on the back of Tom 97 once again, using the slipstream here in lap 14 of 22. And still the gaps are being maintained as we speak. Josh now rising up on Michael Tanita as well, so we got a very, very strong contingent of cars here. A lock up there from Michael Tanita as they round the next right-hander, heading round towards the next left. Still currently Christian Sendel in P5, dropping back very aggressively from Scrippy. Those medium tyres certainly have taken a hammering for Christian Sendel. He's going to have to pit at some point as we now see Michael Tanita rounding that left-hander with Josh in hot pursuit here. Rounding the next right-hander again, going wide slightly, Michael Tanita. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. And Josh is going to gain slightly as they come out on the outset towards the next right-hander. This being turn 14, heading down towards Stabilo. And still, it's going to be Christian Sendel P5, Michael Tanita P6, Josh in P7 with Brownie all over the back of him in P8. Jan Fieler as well in the mix in P9. Further back, Krajcic as well. You've got a string of basically 4 cars, or 5 cars should I say, grouped up together as we now see Brownie with a dynamic move on the outside there of what looks to be Josh. Michael Tanita gets the move down on what looks to be Christian Sendel, who comes into the pit as they make their way down towards La Source. And an excellent move there from Brownie or at least an attempt at one to try and overtake Josh. They come round the source now, heading up the stretch now. Let's just look at this contingent of cars. They make their way up towards Eau Rouge. In mind now, Michael Tanita being gunned down upon by Josh, who's in P6. Just look at him now as they make their way through the DRS section. The back flap opens up for Josh as they make their way. Oh, what a dynamic move here by the Racing Point. Let's fly with the momentum in mind as well. You got Michael Tanita, a stick out from Brownie. Oh my word, a spinala, and he's away off the track. Michael Tanita, sorry about that, folks. Lost my voice as Michael Tanita comes through Les Combes, loses it on track after a collision with Brownie. The stewards will take a look at that, I'm sure. But an amazing exchange there between Josh and, of course, Michael Tanita. Of course, it ended up with Josh finishing out on top in P5, Brownie in P6, Jan Fieler in P7, and now Krajcic in P8, of course. So Tanita, the biggest loser in that fray. Still, the penalties are littered across the circuit. Josh will move up to P4 if the penalty description lasts to the end. Currently 3 seconds applied as well to Michael Tanita, who's having a real fall from grace here. That will allow Christian Sendel to capture P10 if he can stay in the proximity of Michael Tanita. As we now see Brownie heading down towards bus stop. Here comes Jan Fieler. Jan Fieler now, the German driver, heading in on the outside down towards bus stop. Makes his move on the outside, takes the long way round. But still Jan Fieler, he'll have the advantage going through the back end of bus stop. And as he does so, they go wheel to wheel down towards the source once again. And what a phenomenal race. It's starting to hot up now as they round the La Source curve. In behind, Krajcic there as well. On the outside, you can now see Brownie under significant pressure here from Jan Fieler as they come up now towards Eau Rouge. It is going to be Jan Fieler and Brownie as they make their way towards the DRS section. In mind as well, Krajcic will get a run off Jan Fieler as well. Maybe he can actually get a double overtake here on this section as we now see Jan Fieler and Brownie making their way up towards Josh now, who's now making his way through the next session, this being Les Combes. And the Racing Point of Josh still holding out here. He's got Brownie just in behind him there, about 0.4 of a second, 5 tenths now. And again, more lockups as they make their way around Rivage. It's been absolutely scintillating stuff here. Lap 16 of 22, the Pink Panther under increasing pressure as Brownie now in P6 looks to let fly around Pouon. As you can now see him, the yellow car. Of course, Josh, I don't know how he's doing it on those hard tyres, but Brownie on the mediums is starting to close the gap. And you can see Josh is trying to really chuck it around every corner possible, making the most of the delta time here as they ran the next right-hander. And once again, Brownie in P6, Jan Fieler in P7 as they round it once again. The Renault car of Brownie will once again come under pressure from Jan Fieler, that's for sure, as they make their way around Blanchimont now. And very shortly, they'll be commencing their lap 17 of 22. Still Paris Purell is leading in by Ton 97, who's trying to stab back at that lead. As they now make their way around bus stop, the McLaren still holding on to P7. Krajcic there in P8. Dylan Warren in P9, still considerably well back. About 11 seconds is the delta time, or the difference maker here. As we now see Jan Fieler rounding La Source. He has got Brownie dead ahead as they make their way up towards Eau Rouge once again. And this time, their lap 17 of 22 as they make their way through now. Heading out around the next left-hander through towards the Kemmel Straight. And as we now see, Josh now trying to batter off every approach from Brownie. An extraordinary drive this from Josh, who is on those hard tyres and really trying to hold off the advancements of Brownie, who's on mediums and struggling to really do the business here on that hard combated tyre. Christian Sendel gets past Michael Tanita, who is trying to tag back there, but the fresh softs are really working for him here as we now rejoin this action up in the midfield. Brownie in P6, Josh in P5, half a second the difference. Further back, Jan Fieler, 0.3 of a second or 0.5 of a second as they round Pouon now. They're chucking it around this corner. Jan Fieler refusing to leave any stone unturned. Still chasing Brownie as they come round towards the next right-hander. Krajcic in P8 as well. As we now see them make their way through the next cheeky right and left. And as they do so, round turn 14, heading towards Stavelot. And still, it's Josh in P5, in behind him Brownie. 0.7 of a second, the delta gap as they come down now. Heading around the next right-hander, this little kink right-hander towards Blanchimont once again. Turn 16, down towards turn 17 once again. Still Jan Fieler pressing the advantage, or trying to, on Brownie, at least for the time being. Remember, Krajicic is in behind them as well and has not got a penalty in comparison to that of Brownie and Jan Fiele. Both of those drivers, Brownie and Jan Fiele, have got work to do to maintain their positions out on track. Josh, of course, on hard tyres, not yet having a penalty to his name. He'll have P5, at least for the time being, and if he can regather himself and still chase Scripley and stay within that delta time, he'll have a great chance at a P4 finish here, will Josh. And if he can keep pressing, that is certainly where he'll end up as they head up through the Kemmel stretch once again. And in behind you can see Brownie, 7/10 of a second, once again trying to use the DRS to his advantage as they come up towards Lake Com once again. Jan Fiele in P7 as well. They're chucking it around this next chicane very soon. They'll be making their way around the next right, of course, this being Malmedy, heading down towards Rivage. And just literally nicking that turf on the left-hand side was Brownie. That might cost him a slight bit of grip as they head round the next left as well. Losing a little bit of shape there, Brownie. So did Jan Fiele, just coasting over the curve slightly there as they made their way around Pouon, chucking it around this curve once again. They are pushing with all they've got here. Jan Fiele, and a fly's eyelash away from abusing track limits, that's for sure, as they make their way around the next right-hander once again. That being Farnier into the next left-hander. And into turn 14, once again, Brownie nicking the turf. Heading on the outset now around Stavolo. And very soon they'll be making their way around towards Blanchimont as well. But still Paris Burel leads. Top 97 trying to whittle down the delta gap. He's got it down to 1.4 seconds. Albeit I think that delta time has actually been maintained. We got a yellow flag in sector 2 and 3. I'm not sure quite what's happened, but looking further up, I can't see anything of any severe nature. But the time gaps are certainly remaining the same, at least for the time being, as Krajicic now makes his way down towards Le Source, still gunning after Jan Fiele, who of course still has a penalty. Krajicic can really jump a couple of drivers here because he has no penalty. And just look how close he is to Jan Fiele as well. Brownie as well, starting to get closer to the back of Josh as they come up through the next section. Now of course being Eau Rouge, up through Radion, up through the Kemmel stretch. Here comes Brownie, the movement here, ding ding, the battle is afoot here. Here comes Brownie with a knockout punch past Josh here as they make their way up towards Lake Com. Smooth as you like, Brownie gets it done, up to P5. A real heroic effort from Josh to maintain the position he was in despite being on hard tyres. But it all can mean nothing because Josh, remember, has not got a penalty to his name. So he will have a chance towards the end of this race with 3 laps left to go. If he can stay within the delta gap, he will regain those positions on the penalty basis. So do not count out Josh just yet, as we now see them round the next left-handers. And around the next right now, Jan Fiele is sniffing an opportunity here as they round the next left as well. Chasing on the back end of that racing point of Josh as they make their way around the next right-hander. That of course being turn 12, that being Farnier, now round Stavolo. And if you can now see them heading up towards Blanchimont here, turn 16 and 17 beckons as they make their way down towards bus stop, hightailing it down there now. Josh in P6 and holding his own, at least for the time being, as they make their way down towards bus stop once again. The racing point holding on for what he's worth. Jan Fiele leaving no stone unturned, like I said before, late braking, putting the car in every position possible to make an overtake. But Josh with that excellent turn of foot heading down towards the source. Maybe he's better off in a straight line, I'm not so sure. That setup certainly seems to be holding its own, at least for the time being. It's the compounded tyres that are making the difference, that's for sure, as we now see Jan Fiele. We're riding on board with him up through Eau Rouge. In behind Krajicic as well, who's in with his own opportunity here as they come up through the Kemmel Straight. And still the gaps are being maintained. Jan Fiele in P7, closely followed by Krajicic, but further up you got Josh, who's once again half a second behind Brownie. So they can't separate each other, at least for the time being, as they round the next right-hander. That of course being Malmedy, this one being Rivage. And lap 20 of 22 is the order of the day here, folks. We now see Krajicic round the next left-hander, still chasing Jan Fiele. Half a second the difference as they come down towards what will be Pouon. And as they do so, grip into every part of the circuit, Krajicic literally throwing everything at Jan Fiele here. As they come up through towards the next right-hander, still Jan Fiele in P7. Being marched up upon here by Krajicic. No penalty for Krajicic, as I said before. Representing Team Shazoo in this race here today as they round the next right. heading round towards the Stavelot corner. And very shortly they'll be making their way down towards Blanchimont yet again, this time in lap 20 of 22. Paris Burel still maintaining a great delta gap between him and Tom 97, at least for now. Josh in P6. And still holding his own. He's within a second range of Brownie. DRS still active for Josh as they round the bus stop chicane. And yet to have a penalty to his name as well. The top three still looks pretty elusive though. Paris Burel on top. Tom 97 P2. Norbert Jakob in P3. None of them have penalties. Scrippy in P4. Brownie P5. Josh in P6. 0.6 of a second. The gap is now moving out to 0.7 slowly as they come out through Eau Rouge once again. The Racing Point pushing and prodding on the back of that Renault. In behind you got Jan Fila, who's now in trouble because here comes Krajcic as they make their way up the Kemmel stretch, and the Racing Point looking to follow his teammates. A little bit of argy-bargy as they head up through what will be Les Combes, and a great move indeed, and that's going to push Krajcic up to P7. A dynamic manoeuvre. The Racing Points, the Pink Panther, scaling their way through this classification. A great move by Krajcic as they make their way around the Rivage bend, heading round towards the next left, the corner with no name turn 9, and it's going to be the two Racing Points in P6 and 7. No penalties in between the two of them at all as they round the next left-hander of Pouon, and Jan Fila has got to try and battle back now. Remember, he's on soft tyres, so he's still got the advantage in a sense, but here in lap 21 and 22, very shortly we are going to be making our way on the final lap. This is the penultimate lap, folks, here of this Belgian Grand Prix. I want to hear your driver of the days in the comment section, folks. I hope you've all enjoyed the commentary. It certainly has heated up. Obviously, apologies for the previous stream issues. I'd like to think we've got back to at least business as usual here at Apex Online Racing, as we're now seeing Krajcic making his way around Blanchimont here again, down towards what will be the bus stop chicane. He's got Josh ahead of him here. Is it going to be team orders here in the Racing Point team lineup or not? We'll soon find out. Or is Josh going to hold on to that position? Bagula Adam says driver of the day, Norbert Jakob, and I would hazard to agree. After a phenomenal start, there's a late break here from Krajcic, trying to close up on his teammate. Josh himself trying to close up on Brownie. The hard tyres might be coming into effect here as they come up through Eau Rouge now, up through Radion. And this is the last lap of this Belgian Grand Prix, folks. A phenomenal race it's been, an instant classic, as now we're seeing Josh coming up through towards the next chicane. It's still going to be Brownie holding his own for P5, but Josh cannot close the gap close enough to make a move. But never you mind, he will not have a penalty if things stay the same. And Scrippy and Brownie both in jeopardy here of losing out on their positions. Another lock-up here from Brownie as they make their way around the next left. Jens Timmer says driver of the day must be Paris Burel. And I have to necessarily agree. I certainly would agree as well. You got to give credit to both Paris Burel and Norbert Jakob on two exceptional drives. As Christian Sendel is battling with Michael Tanitsa. A great move by Christian Sendel there as we now witness Paris Burel rounding the next right-hander. It's been a phenomenal race by this man as he rounds the next right-hander. Indeed, the Red Bull has been absolutely scintillating. He's maintained the gap against Tom 97, who's brought it within DRS distance. Tom 97 not giving up here, the championship leader. Remember, these two are spearheading the AOR PC F1 Championship here today. Paris Burel coming down towards the next chicane. Tom 97 in hot pursuit. He's got a penalty though as Norbert Jakob rounds the final corner, and he's going to claim P2 at this rate. It's going to be Paris Burel that wins the Belgian Grand Prix. Unbelievable work there from Paris Burel, and he claims it for Red Bull. Again added to the points and increases their gap at top of the constructors standings. Norbert Jakob in P2, a great drive from him after leading from the start after a scintillating start on the soft tyres. Tom 97, the championship leader, once again another podium for that man in the Alpha. Further back, Josh in P4, a great drive on the hards and kept it clean, and that's what aided his positive result at the end of the day. Krajcic himself as well, P5, a great drive as well. Racing Point getting some great points here today. But it was all about Paris Burel, folks. A great drive indeed to claim P1. Phenomenal effort indeed. We'll take you through the final results. What a phenomenal race indeed. Like I said before, the Belgian Grand Prix never short of drama, and Paris Burel is going to be absolutely delighted with his result here today. Amazing scenes. Credit to Nicola Banham. You got the drivers in the podium places, just not the right positions, but absolutely spot on. Paris Burel, P1 for Red Bull Racing, a great win indeed. Norbert Jakob, P2 for AlphaTauri, the sister car, of course, of Red Bull Racing. Top 97, a great drive by our current championship leader in P3. Josh, another great drive from him. The Racing Point in tandem, P4 and 5 for both Josh and Krajcic. Great points going to them today. Scrippy P6 for the Mercedes team. Brownie P7 for Renault. Jan Fieler in P8. Just did not quite go to plan today, but he was battling in the midfield very, very hard indeed. Christian Sendel in P9. Michael Tanitsa in P10. Dylan Warren, after a couple of disconnects, indeed, just did not go his way. P11. Florian Napik, we lost him earlier on. Big shame. Alfa Romeo going a driver down earlier on in the race. But what a scintillating performance indeed. It's certainly a phenomenal race here, folks. I hope you all enjoyed that, because I certainly did. Unbelievable, folks. I gotta say, I'm glad to be back at AOR, and it's absolutely superb to be back. And I hope you all enjoyed the commentary as well. I'll be announcing my plans as to whether I'm staying with AOR for the foreseeable future. Obviously, the stream settings will be better, folks. I do promise. I was called in last minute to do a job, and I'm here now. And obviously calling the race through. I hope you all enjoyed the broadcast here tonight. Credit to Paris Burel on a truly sensational win. And that'll go a long way to his standing for the championship as well. And not forgetting the battle that he'll have with Tom 97 leading towards the end of this season. Not forgetting as well Andinator. What a phenomenal exchange from those guys indeed. And we'll look forward to seeing what happens in the many weeks to come. But folks, if you could leave a like and a subscribe to the channel as well. I have been George Morgan, CRGGO. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you hopefully next time, maybe next time. But goodbye.